I'm Devin 3000.
And this is Dabuz.
And I'm Lord Thesaus.
Yep, and today we are talking about our special friend, E.Cole McGarth, also known as E.Cole for short.
I know. Oh my god.
E.Cole's recently gone through a couple of changes since the last patch 1.0, and with the upcoming patch in the fall done by Sony Santa Monica, and how they'll be listening to feedback. These podcasts are meant to inform you guys, give you guys some new insight by players who have picked up this character in depth and have been playing them for quite a while and kind of know their insides outs. We're going to start things off with basically a summary of how E.Cole's gameplay plan, how he stands on the tier list, notable matchups that he does pretty well in or pretty bad in as examples. So yeah, start the way, Dabuz.
Right now, E.Cole is considered like bottom of high tier. I personally think he's somewhere in the mid tier, but he does well against most of the mid tiers and some of the high tiers. But basically every top tier, except Kratos, destroys him or gives him a lot of trouble, and some high tiers give him trouble. I feel like he needs some work to become better because he lost a lot with the previous nerfs.
So what's a typical E.Cole gameplay plan then?
Generally, the one thing he has over everyone in the past is his mobility. His grind cancels, his side circle, the Firebird Strike. He can jump cancel his area moves. That gives him a lot of mobility and ability to run away and play safe. And that's his game plan, is run away, play safe, either get risky wall bounce confirms, punch confirms, or go for level 2, because he can confirm anything into level 2. But a lot of his matches, because of that, are really slow, because he doesn't build up much AP.
Okay, so as there are any matchups worth noting that you feel like E.Cole is really strong in, and any specific ones he does kind of poor in,
he gets destroyed by Ryan. Good Cole gives him a lot of trouble, Sly gives him a lot of trouble, and those are his really three biggest difficult matchups. The matchups he's good against are matchups against melee characters like Dante, Big Daddy, Grappa. Just matchups where he can force the approach and throw projectiles out.
So basically, Cole is more of the pacemaker then. He decides when he needs to play, zoning, and he decides when he wants to be in your face, correct?
He controls the entire match generally. No matter what matchup it is, he's just controlling the pace of it.
Okay, and and you believe that's the reason why where he is currently in the tier list, somewhere between high to mid?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. What moves in E.Cole's arsenal would you tweak to even them out in terms of power, or to bring their use up to snuff?
See, a lot of his moves are just combo extenders. So the one move I would tweak two moves majorly. First is punch. His punch got nerfed really hard. It's basically a useless move without hard read. I would just make it have a much quicker startup so he can actually tech chase with it again, because that was a big part of his game before patch 1.10, was getting a hard knockdown, putting all spec down, and tech chasing with punch and reaction, or just good projections. But now you can't even do that. And I'd also give him more armor so he can actually use that as a CQC and defensive option, because once again, that was a big part of his game, was defensively or offensively punching with armor through moves they predicted. And I would also buff the oil spec to have a little bit more time where someone's trapped in, just so you can get those confirms, because with lag, sometimes you catch them in an oil spike and they'll just get it right away, because on their screen, they were in it for too long already.
Well, that kind of seems like that's a netcode one, but that dimension in glitches. But
I think that's need to get changed, though, is increase the amount of time someone's in the oil spike.
Theseus, do you have anything to add in to what Dabuz has said?
No, not really. Dabuz covered everything.
You feel like all his other moves are okay how they stand, his throws, his aerials. You feel like all of that is how it is right now is perfectly fine?
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a use for basically every single move he has. With maybe one or two exceptions, all his moves have some sort of place in his arsenal that help his game.
Okay, and the one or two that don't, those are just more for show, for example?
Up square, for example, is bad anti-air, I should say.
Okay, so it's an option, but it's mostly if you just want to show off it, kind of, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
For the sake of counter argument, people were you want to reset his punch back to how it originally was.
No, I want to still have the amount of lag it has now, because it's a fully punishable move.
What's the armor at now, and what did it used to be at?
I believe the armor is at 10 now, and it used to be 30. Basically, any decent melee attack is going to stop it. And
would you be alright with 20?
20 would work. Just something that lets him fight characters at close range and punch through moves that are strong and safe.
Right, because I'm just saying 10 seems awfully low and 30 seems awfully high, since usually the 30 AP moves take some time to do, and
the fact that 30 AP moves, it would be those are the slower moves that have those are the moves that you would use in those high risk, high reward type pokes, like my Volt Tackle, my grounded forward triangle, that does 30 AP, and for someone to expect me to like do that one on reaction, I have to do that beyond reaction. It would have to be a read that's like so far beyond, because it's such a slow move, to like compete with like how fast the punch is with an armor of 30.
Well, think about how punch is, though. Like, I still have to react. I still have to predict you, because punch isn't, like, that fast where I can do it on reaction, unless you don't, like, Big Daddy's tackle.
True,
and also,
like,
think about if I miss it, if you block it, you get a full combo of punch.
Isn't it a guard break?
No,
it's not a guard break.
Okay.
Well,
punch on block is a full punish for every character in the game.
See, the thing is, like, I'm just trying to, think of things. So, one of E.Cole's most favorite setups for the tech chase is drop an oil spike on top of them and then tech chase with the punch. Like, that's why I'm kind of questionable about the 30 AP of armor, because, like...
Well, the thing is, off that tech chase, the armor's not gonna matter.
Okay.
Well, the armor can matter for characters that have obstacles that you set up. Again,
like, if there's a mine if there's a mine to the right,
I want to roll to the right and try and have that protection. The idea is that if there is an obstacle, like for characters that do create obstacles, it means that in that matchup you're going to have to pressure away from it and do it in such a way that you prevent them from laying down the obstacle near you once again. And that just I think that adds to a layer of depth. When you're able to be like, this flat land is my land, and I will punch through anything, I feel that like you're just completely nullifying one tool that a handful of characters do have, and is a big part of their gameplay. We have Sweet Tooth, Sly, hell, even like
Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac. There are these characters that that you would be drastically changing a dynamic.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but something you need to consider about the punch is when E.Cole punches through something like a mine, or just a mine, he actually gets slowed down. The punch slows while hitting the mine. Mm-hmm. While his armor is active on that mine, it's slow, so if you do that, the tech chase won't work unless you have a really bad roll, which I don't think any of those characters do. So having that mine there, even with the armor, it's going to make escape option. Like, I'm not going to be able to punch you on that escape option. So I have to do that even with the armor. I got to press you away from your mines.
See, that's my point. The fact that the obstacles create a safe haven gives E.Cole, it gives E.Cole a tougher time, but with the fact that, like, say for example, with Sly's Oki game, right? When I have you spike down onto the ground, I can react to you, like, the direction you roll, and I can react with a backstab, It's a really quick reaction. I have to be really quick about it, but I feel that in the same territory as the punch. Like, the punch, if it doesn't have anything in front of it, it is a fairly quick move that you can react to the person in rolling.
Like, yes, but it's not that fast where you can react, like, consistently, like... It's a very,
that's the same thing with my backstab. I don't think that I can't like react like super quickly consistently. It's just like something that's the mechanic about it, It is quick and you can react to it, but it is going to be tough to react to. And I feel that like having that type of option that leads into a kill confirm is pretty powerful. So like when you're nullifying this obstacle thing, you're taking away pressure that he would otherwise have to do. And I feel that if it's going to Oki game to kill, that's something to keep in mind.
Well, think about this, though. Rolling isn't the only option.
No, of course not.
And that's the thing. You can't react to the option. You have to react to the roll itself, like left to right, but you have to read the roll. You won't be able to react to the option of rolling and the roll itself. You'll have to react to either them doing a jump on get up, taking the oil spike on get up, or rolling on get up. You have to take that 1 out of 3 chance of guessing right initially.
Yeah, no, I definitely...
Can I ask you this scenario question? You have level 1, you get the knockdown, you drop an oil spike on them, and you have charged punch. How often have people escaped that setup from you?
About like 6% of the time. I only get it about 1 out of every 3 times pre-patch. And post-patch is not a worthwhile option because the punch has so much startup that you flat out can't like punish rolls unless you read their roll and punch before they start rolling.
But
like the punch startup is terrible.
What would you say instead of increasing the armor to making the startup slightly quicker? Because, I mean, it already looks like a generally quick move. I mean, from what you're saying, and I'll take your word for it, is that, like, but yeah, so, like, making it a bit quicker, but not having the armor go back up to, like, freaking 30. That way,
I mean, I was fine with, like, 20. 20 sounds like a good thing for the armor. It's not too much, but it's, like, it's useful.
Alright, no, that's good, too.
Because one of his biggest flaws, like, he couldn't get past a good wall. Like, anyone that could out-camp him and wall him out gave him very difficult time. And even then, they still do. Even if it's not, like, his worst matchups, they're all just hard for him to deal with. And that's why like punch armor was good, is because it let him get past that kind of stuff. It gave him a tool that while it was unsafe and could be punished, it gave him something to do there.
Okay.
Like for Sly now, if he has a mine up, I'm not doing anything. If Isaac has a mine up, I'm just gonna throw grenades and try to get level 2 and hopefully outcamp him when I really can't. Like there's so many things that I just can't do against characters like that.
Right.
Yeah, no,
So
definitely.
So like 20 armor would be. There are times where E.Cole can just read a move and it's like, oh, is that 20 AP and sort of safe? Here, let me just punch right through that pre-patch. Because semi-medium range move like Jack's Blaster, for instance, to be able to punch through 2 out of the shots seems kind of silly, even like at max range.
Even then, if Jack did a blaster and I tried punching through, or like any projectile like that, it would stop because the punch would like lag on the shots, and the duration of punch would end before he hits Jack because of the shots.
It seems like the punch is the only issue about Cole, that
Like his
teetering point for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like his entire game makes sense, but like he lost so many things with that punch. Like he lost his Oki game, he lost his tech chase game, he lost a lot of his pressure game, a lot of his CQC game, because he can't like fight CQC. He has such like bad risk reward at close range. There's no reason to ever do it. Like he lost so much with the punch because punch was a big part of his mix-up game in every scenario.
So let me ask you this: are you comfortable with Cole, where Cole sits right now on the tier list? Like he's one of those characters where you just kind of you have to learn him. You can't just kind of brain dead him.
Pretty much, but like there's no reason to use him when you can use better characters. Like there's always a character that does what he does better, except mobility.
Okay, so it's basically the case of being outclassed. Theseus, do you have any input on this? Any opinions?
Basically, I would say E.Cole is, I guess you could say, like a jack of all trades type of character. He can zone, but of course there's characters that can do that better, and then melee could be really better than him, but it's still good. So I would definitely say increase the armor on his Giga Punch just a little bit, to 20, just so that he actually has a tool to be able to get in on characters that can easily wall him out.
And how do you feel about the oil spike that Dabuz mentioned? To make it slightly more active on when he drops it.
For me, actually, I wouldn't say make it slightly more active when someone is trapped in it. I would actually want the oil spike to sit on the stage a little bit longer than it currently does.
For reference sake, how long does it stay on the stage?
I'm not exactly sure how long it stays on the stage. I would guess maybe about 4 or 5 seconds. In my opinion, I would actually increase it to about 1 or 2 more seconds probably. It's just for me, I feel like his oil spike is sort of like his own
4 seconds
unique of a landmine, and I kind of feel like it should last a little bit longer.
Yeah,
like you feel like it wouldn't, like, you know, the couple, like how a couple more seconds as in like 3, or a couple more seconds as in like 1 or 2?
Like maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds long.
3 seconds long?
If it's
Okay, yeah. I would make it last a little bit longer.
So at least like around 4 to 5 then.
Yeah, because right now, in my opinion, with how long it stays on the stage, which is not that long, it feels almost useless.
Really? I find it to be very useful in a lot of scenarios, mostly for tech chasing, or it's still tech chasing, and just having a defensive setup.
Yeah, for tech chasing, I would agree that it is good in that, but like I said, it's still, in my opinion, sort of acts like his own landmine. And in some situations where you have to play defense and, you know, sort of camp, that's very hard for him to do with his own, when his own landmine isn't even on the stage that long to actually help his camp. I just feel like it should last like a little bit longer than it currently does. I
agree, but I also think you hit the nail on the hammer before, where he's a jack of all trades. He can do everything well, so you want to keep like his oil spike in that like range of, it's a good move, but it's not great. It has uses, but it's just one of his many tools because he's a jack of all trades.
Okay, so before we move on, the most important change is to adjust the armor on the punch, and perhaps something with the startup then.
The startup is the biggest thing.
Okay, so like for the startup, you would increase it by a couple of frames?
I would just
decrease it, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I would just make whatever startup was pre-patch. I think it was like 8 frames quicker pre-patch.
But
it was something like that, because that really just gave him a lot of options and made him a character who could do more than run away. Because a lot of what he does now is just run away and throw stuff.
Okay, and you feel like the punch, basically, if it's still slightly quicker, it would help him against the quick characters that wouldn't invalidate the punch, pretty much, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so going by that, Theseus, can you go into any of E.Cole's glitches?
Well, some of his main glitches that he has is his invisible tether. A lot of people complain about getting hit by invisible tethers, and I'm pretty sure that has made a lot of players salty when they get hit by it. Mm-hmm. So I think they really need to fix that invisible tether.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yep.
Talking with Theracus, he's mentioned that his oil spike is actually indestructible in some cases. Because I remember I was running some sets with him a few days ago, and he was always getting very frustrated when I would cancel my oil spike, just simply because he had a very hard time destroying it. And
That actually just might be a netcode issue with mines in general online, where like they'll be hit, but they'll still stay active on the screen. So that might just be a netcode issue that I think is just overall needs to be addressed in period. Does that make sense? Like it's not just E.Cole, so it's like other characters as well, where they hit the mine, but the mine it just refuses to be removed, like Isaac's mine, for instance. Other glitches?
See, another one of the glitches, I think this one might also be another netcode issue as well, I'm not sure. The Coles, for both of them, sometimes on the opponent's screen will show that they don't have any AP at all, but on the player's screen, they actually have a level 1 or a level 2, and then someone gets caught because they have no idea that they have a super.
That's an annoying glitch, but you can actually see based on the aura, like a person with level 1 has a blue aura, and a person with level 2 has a bigger blue aura. So maybe you don't see the AP, you can see the aura and tell they have level 1 or level 2.
Either way,
True,
that should be fixed.
Yeah, I know. You're still able to see whether they have a super or not just based on their aura, but it's still a very annoying glitch.
I agree. Like being unsure of how close they are to a certain, the next level is kind of changes your gate, like how you approach. Because if Cole's close to level 2, that's one thing, and if he's close to E.Cole close to the aura burst, you don't want to be necessarily be near an area where he can do the trap you and then burst you because you thought he still had level 1.
This one might also be another netcode issue. Sometimes E.Cole's Giga Punch is invisible on the opponent's screen.
Really?
So I've ran into it quite a few times where I'm doing like a E.Cole mirror match or something, and my opponent has a Giga Punch, but I have no idea he has a punch until he's already punched me and I die because
that seems like a netcode issue. Unless what they're doing. Only thing I can think of is you can like charge a punch and stop it right before it's fully charged, and you have the punch, but it actually won't appear as like a punch. Like a fully charged, but it's not technically fully charged, so the game doesn't register it as like visually.
Okay. Anything else, Theseus?
The last thing I really want to address just his level 1 super. I know tons of people have complained about this. The fact that it has armor on his super.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that was actually intended, like with the super. Some people just hit him, like just normal jabs, but they'll still get supered for level 1.
Are you talking about the startup of the super or during the super, like when they're holding the person?
The startup, I believe.
Startup.
On Wake Up, I know every super has some sort of invincibility. Only Wake Up.
No, not even on Wake Up. Just throwing out just the YOLO level 1 super. Sometimes your opponent will be hitting you and you'll still catch them in your level 1 just because apparently it has armor.
Yeah, it happens actually kind of often where there'll be a move that'll be clearly within the hitbox range, even after the slight initial burst at his feet, the electrical wave, by a point where clearly the invincibility frames have passed because the electrical current's like at his waist, and there'll be like a fist in his face, but he'll still pick them up regardless of the punch or not. Yeah, it's kind of silly.
I think they really need to address that.
From what I've heard, it seems like a lot of Cole's glitches are heavily netcode based, but because of these glitches, it makes kind of playing him very kind of troublesome.
A bit of a chore.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Actually, I have one glitch too at Edge. I'm not sure if it's a glitch or a hitbox issue, but either way, it's like needs to be fixed. Because someone with the Edge, if you level 2, they'll be caught in it, but the actual explosion that kills them at the end of his level 2 will not hit them, and they'll just get out.
Yeah, I've seen that once. That was dumb.
This happened to me a few times against mostly slides, but like right at the edge, they'll be caught and not die.
Yeah.
There's even been parts, like, I've seen that happen to me where, like, I'll be even, like, after that happened, after I didn't die, I'll be stuck red.
Yeah, that happens to me, yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a video that happened to me when I was fighting Heroic Moses in one of the fight clubs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what I remember, because it's like, wait, what? You fell out of it randomly.
It's happened to me in quick match as well, but my situation is actually a little bit different. I had both opponents in a level 2, and I did random quick match, so I had some random partner, and he was stupid enough to hit the opponent, and it knocked him out of my level 2. He didn't die, but he was still glowing red.
Yep, that happens.
Now, I think, like, what you could say about that is, like, it's either a bug or it was intentional. Now, if it was intentional, there needs to be a better, like, visual representation that if you're on the edge, you don't die but you lose AP or something like that. I mean, I think it would be better if it just killed, but if it was intentional, there would have to be a better visual representation for it. Either way, something needs to be done about that weird edgy thing.
Theseus, does that wrap it up? Dabuz, do you have any other glitches maybe?
No more glitches I can think of. I mean, he has like invisible projectiles, but every character with projectiles has that sometimes.
Right.
That's just netcode and that usually fixed. Real quick, I would just like your opinion on, like, for just Cole in general, Evil Cole and Good Cole, how do you feel about their random jab?
Terrible. I absolutely hate the fact that it exists.
Wait,
Okay.
Evil Cole has random jab factor? I thought he just...
His is safe on block, his random jab.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
wait,
but he has
what?
a random jab just like Good Cole, even though Good Cole's leads into a kill confirm, but it's still random jab, and I just feel like that's really stupid.
Silly. It's silly.
You
I feel
know?
like they should either make like... I think they should do is make all of Good Cole's jabs like combo to kill confirm because it's an unsafe jab. But make all of Evil Cole's jabs safe on block. Like, it's not ridiculous for either character, because one
Okay,
of them has a
I
low
get
risk,
it.
low reward, the other one's high risk, high reward.
No, I'll bring
because
this up
Evil
for the
Cole
Good Cole thing.
launches away, Jack Spiral, I believe, and Good Cole's would lead into a confirm. So it would be like, Evil Cole doesn't really get any, other than positioning advantage, he doesn't really get any reward for landing a square, square, square combo, as opposed to Cole, who would get a kill, correct?
Yeah.
So we just finished glitches, you just mentioned that. Okay, so in conclusion, I feel like we've covered...
Actually, there's one thing. Shout out to the Fat Princess panel, I have to say. We should give Evil Cole the Fat Princess ninja smile before it was patched out. When it looked like a squirrel.
Yes.
Let Evil Cole have the squirrel smile and he'll look like a chipmunk.
I think Sly should have that in his
or
victory
raccoon.
pose.
Please,
Okay.
raccoon Evil Cole. Make it happen.
And
So-
make the zoom in on Evil Cole's level 3 quivering lip. Extend the time that we get to see that.
Yes, I want to see that sexy beast more.
Oh my god, guys.
That quiver lip, man.
Alrighty, so the Buzz. Can you sum up like how you want? It seems like Evil Cole's only issue is the punch. So
Yeah.
could you sum that up in
A too long data read version.
yes, a TLDR version? You know, as well as the and then Theseus, you can confirm which of the most important glitches would be like in order would be fast to patch out.
Okay, for Evil Cole's punch, I would just make it the startup of Evil Cole's punch, decrease the startup so it's pre-patched, and give it 20 AP of armor. That's really all it needs with it.
And Theseus.
The biggest glitches that need to be patched out are the invisible tether, the level 1 glitch,
With the armor,
and,
right?
yeah, the armor, and then the whole level 2 glitch as well, where they just randomly escape out of it. Those are some of the big ones that really need to be patched.
Oh, and of course the creepy chipmunk smile that the Buzz wants in.
Forever.
So, okay, with that, I think you reached a comfortable spot with Evil Cole that, hopefully you guys can listen to this. I mean, the Buzz and Theseus have both been playing this character for months now through, the multiple patches that we've had. So these patches are also, with their notes, have also, give them, are not just for 1v1 scenarios, they're like for all multiple modes, because, 2v2s, one free-for-alls, Evil Cole is very versatile.
Oh yeah, I was saying that like within the regards of like all the modes, free for all and 2v2.
Right, exactly. That's 20 AP seems fine since he would 20 AP, 2 move, like essentially a partner hit and a weak hit that's enough to break it. At the same time, not overpowered. That concludes our Evil Cole podcast. These are of course intended to give you guys a different insight of like how players who have been using these characters for months feel about the potential changes that could be made with the upcoming patch in the fall and by Sony Santa Monica since they'll be listening to feedback. Of course, always keep in mind that other characters as well should also be receiving their fair share of improvements. So if you feel that that a character is being slightly underplayed, keep in mind that the specific character, this one, for instance, Evil Cole, is not the only character to receive a change. So remember, always keep that in mind. And so with that, we end our Evil Cole podcast, and that was me, Domino SNK.
I'm Devin2000.
And I'm the Buzz.
And I'm Lord Thesaus.
Yep, and we'll catch you next time. Also, don't forget, put in creepy smile, please.